President Trump now insisting that the U.S. is in charge of Venezuela. And now he says that other countries may be next. Let's check in with CBS News correspondent Erica Brown in Washington, D.C.
Venezuela's UN ambassador accused the United States of violating international law with Saturday's military operation that led to the capture and removal of President Nicolas Maduro. U.S. Ambassador to the UN Mike Waltz defended it as a necessary law enforcement operation.
The United States arrested a narco-trafficker who is now going to stand trial in the United States in accordance with the rule of law.
Venezuela's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, was sworn in Monday and has offered to work with the Trump administration.
We're dealing with the people that just got sworn in, and don't ask me who's in charge because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
Because we're in charge.
Trump administration officials are briefing a bipartisan group of lawmakers on the military operation, but some have questioned what's next for the U.S.'s role in Venezuela.
You're saying you're going to run Venezuela now when the American economy has got flashing red lights and smoke coming out of it? Focus.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio also spoke with his Danish counterpart Monday after President Trump's comments Sunday night about the Danish territory Greenland.
We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security, and Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you.
Denmark's ambassador to the U.S. posted on social media that Greenland is already a part of NATO and dedicated to the defense of the U.S., while adding his country expects full respect for the territorial integrity of the kingdom. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Erica Brown back with us live now. And Erica, President Trump also suggested he could carry out similar raids in Colombia like he ordered in Venezuela. What would that mean for that country?
Well, Stephanie, if you want to take a look at what could potentially happen, let's take a look at what's going on in Venezuela right now. According to our partners on the ground, there's a lot of uncertainty there with long lines, people trying to stock up on supplies and groceries, unsure of what this transition would mean for their daily lives and their ability to purchase supplies that they need. So some Venezuelans at this point are uncertain of what the future holds, and the reaction has been split. Some Venezuelans are grateful to the Trump administration for the removal of Maduro. Others have accused the administration of using the operation to take advantage of Venezuelans' oil supply. But it's important to note that the legal situation in Venezuela is much different from Colombia. Colombia's President Gustavo Petro has not been charged with any wrongdoing. He's not faced any indictments, although President Trump did accuse Colombia's president of allowing cocaine to be trafficked into the United States in mass quantities. But legally, the situation is very different. Maduro has been the target of a month-long pressure campaign from the United States. If you recall, this included those strikes on suspected drug boats in the Caribbean and the seizure of oil tankers that administration officials have said was trafficking sanctioned oil. So the situation there very different. But for a clue of what it could look like, we can take a look at what's happening in Venezuela right now.
Yes, that's excellent insight there, Erica. And then Trump also mentioned Greenland. We've heard him say this before, citing reasons of national security. But they're a NATO ally. How does this all tie in with that country?
Well, you're absolutely right there, Stephanie. It's been almost a year since President Trump returned to office for his second term, where he has reiterated this interest in making Greenland part of the United States. But it's important to note that officials in Greenland and Denmark have strongly pushed back against that. And that also includes the people of Greenland, who say, for the most part, that they are happy. They do not want to be part of the United States. But as you noted there, President Trump continues to assert that this is a matter of national security. Greenland is an autonomous territory within Denmark, and that is part of NATO. They say that they are already, as members of NATO, invested in the United States national security, as the United States is also a member of NATO. But this has been a priority for the president for the last year or so.
Yeah, perhaps American citizens wanting to know more about what that means under national security, what exactly Trump is talking about there. We move on to a couple more questions, Erica. A lot of politicians mentioned that what happened in Venezuela possibly violated international law. That was probably the biggest thing I saw over social media when all of this took place over the weekend. So can you explain more about, does this actually violate international law, or is there a gray area there?
Well, it depends on who you ask, Stephanie, and it's important to note that the reaction here has been mostly split along party lines, with Republicans here on Capitol Hill saying that the Trump administration was well within their rights to carry out this sensitive military operation that the Trump administration has said was necessary as a law enforcement operation. It was a 25-page indictment where the former leader, Maduro, had been charged with drug trafficking, narco-terrorism, weapons possession. Today, both he and his wife pleaded not guilty to those charges, but they say this was a necessary law enforcement operation. And President Trump said that it was carried out without congressional knowledge to prevent leaks. Now, some lawmakers have pushed back on that, saying it was a military operation that required congressional approval. And some of them continue to press for more transparency. And we're expecting at some point this week for some lawmakers to vote on a resolution that would require congressional approval before any further military action in Venezuela. But the reaction is split along party lines, with Democrats saying this violated international law. They've accused the Trump administration of using the military operation to seize Venezuela's energy assets, and they are saying this was a move that required congressional approval. Republicans say this was well within the president's rights to carry out this operation.
All right, Erica, last question here, and you just mentioned that Maduro and his wife pleaded not guilty in court today. What happens next for both of them?
Well, right now they have been returned to the prison, for which at this point we expect them to remain pending trial. But Stephanie, this kicks off a very lengthy legal process. We do expect a number of motions to be filed. Likely, the defendants' attorneys will file motions to dismiss. If those motions are denied, this will continue to play out in the legal process. We can expect hearings on the evidence that might be admissible. We can potentially expect hearings where Maduro's attorneys might motion for him to be released pending trial, and it could take months or longer before a jury is even seated. So we're looking at a very lengthy process that could go into next year before this even gets before a jury. Stephanie?
Oh, Erica. All right. Thank you for that insight. And for now, they'll be at their new home, a prison there in New York with a bad reputation, and very notable celebrities there also there at that same jail. Erica, thank you. Now,